Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and watching. It's about 7:30, I'm going to say, on Tuesday, 20th of May 2025, and I'm at the turnaround point on my morning run, which is up at the Tamar Islands, wetland. I'm just about to go onto the Cormiston Creek track here, as you can see by the blue sign. For local people, I parked at Tail Race Park, and so that's where I've got to get back to. Everybody else, I've got about 7.5 k's back to where I started. Now I'm going to talk a bit today about successful running, and lots of other videos I've told you all the things I'm not. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to tell you what I am or have been, and you can infer from that or whatever you will, that I have a certain level of expertise. In other areas, I'm not an expert, and so I'm not offering expert advice. I'm just offering my own observations and thoughts. So what I am is a retired school teacher, teaching primary school for going on 40 years, 38 to be precise. I've been retired for 12 years. I'm soon to turn 72, and I run. And I run because I like to run. And so successful running to me isn't coming first, because only one person can do that. It isn't being first in your gender, first in your age group, any of those things. There's only one person can do that. Sometimes I'm first in my age group at park run, and I do get a bit of a boost to the self-esteem about that, I guess, but you can only one person can be first. And for most of the other people who go to park run or go to any running event, you're not going to be first. So if success means coming first, then you might be disappointed. If success means a medal, fair enough. But to me, successful running is going out and doing what I set out to do each run. Today, I had a route in mind, and completing it will be my successful thing for the day. Yes, I'll take note of the time, and I wish I had done it better and faster, and some of the lap times were better than I wanted to be better, but my success, or what constitutes successful running for me today, is to finish what I started. Now, if that's your measure, at least for me, then everybody can be a successful runner. And to me, there are two things that make you a successful runner. Number one is the physical package you were given. Now, whether you think that is genetics, evolution, the creator, or whatever, you've been given a certain package. And providing that you have no underlying joint, muscle, heart, or respiratory system issues, you can learn to run. No matter how old you are. Well, no, that's not true, because there's going to be a point where you just have to stop. I haven't reached mine yet, and I don't know when it will be, but there will be a point where I just have to stop doing it for fear of falling over or breaking a bone or something like that. But if you're in good health and your underlying package is in good condition, even if you are carrying more weight than you ought to be, you can run and you can learn to run. You've got a certain height, a certain mass. You might be carrying more of that mass than you want to, but the physical package you've been given is designed for movement. And according to a book I read once called Born to Run, which I made a video about, nothing to do with Bruce Springsteen, by the way, the premise of the book was that the human body was designed for running. And so, we can all run. And so, you can do things with the physical package that will improve your running, will make you a better runner. I don't necessarily mean you'll set PBs or win running events or whatever, but that might make you a better runner by correcting your form, perhaps, or giving you more muscle in parts of your body and so on. So you can do things to change the body package, or the package that you've got. And you go to a gym and say, I'm a runner, I want to run, and I just need a program to help me to do that. Somebody at that gym who knows what they're doing will come up with a package and say, these are the sorts of things you ought to do. And as you run, the package will change. Your body will, if you're carrying more weight than you ought to, you'll burn some of that weight off. And your body will change and adapt. Your heart will adapt to the physical demands that you're putting on it. Your respiratory system will develop. Your aerobic strength or base or whatever they call it will develop. And you will be able to run. And you'll be able to run for longer. And you'll be able to perhaps run a bit faster. So there's a physical package you've been given, and there'll be a person next to you at a running event, whether it's park run or some other thing. They'll be the same age as you, in the same gender, if that's the word we use for that now. They'll have a different package. They'll be taller, shorter, wider, skinnier, have longer legs, or something or other, because that's, again, genetics, evolution, or whatever you want to say it is. Now, the second thing that you need to be a runner is a psychological thing. I suspect the thing that stops a lot of people from running is saying, I don't think I could do it, or I don't want to embarrass myself, or I don't want people laughing at me, I don't want to make a fool of myself, or some other excuse, if you like that. Now, most people who are runners are just busy running. They're so focused on what they're doing that they don't have the time or the inclination. That's the more important thing. They don't have the inclination to be bothered taking the mickey out of you for your running style, for how good or bad or whatever. They're just doing their own thing. They're just concentrating on their own run and trying to do their best performance. Now, there are things you can do with the psychological package. First of all, you can throw all that stuff about what will other people think out the window. In the first instance, it doesn't matter what they think. If you want to run, just run. That's all you do. Just turn up to where there's a running venue, like a park run, or be like I am, get out, find a path and run on it. So the first thing you can do is forget all that other stuff about what other people think, and what do I wear and stuff. Just make up your mind that you're going to give this running thing a try. Go out and give it a try. Now, I don't mean to imply by that when you go out, the first thing you're going to do is run 5k. If you've never run before, that's not going to happen. I'm going to be honest and say, that's not going to happen. What is going to happen is you're going to run for a while, and then you're going to find you're out of breath, you might even get that thing they call a stitch, or you feel tired, and you just think, I can't run anymore. And you might be right that day. You might just stop, or walk for a while, till you get your breath back, the stitch goes, and you feel as if you can run again. And so you run for a little bit more. And then you have to walk again. What you do is, over time, you run more and walk less. Until at one point, you'll find that you've run a whole kilometre without stopping. And you'll feel mighty proud of yourself, and you should. And the body will feel fatigued because it's the first time you've done such a thing, and it should feel fatigued. But if you keep at it, you'll run beyond the kilometre and feel good and not feel fatigued. And then one day, you will run the full 5k. Now, there are other things you can do with the psychological package, as well as tox away all that what other people think nonsense, is that when you're out running, even, I think, if they're honest, the very best runners, the elite ones, whatever name you want to give them, I reckon if they're really honest deep down in their hearts, sometimes they say, geez, I wish I could stop. Geez, I wish I could give up now. I'm really feeling it. My legs are tired. Everything feels awful and I just want to stop. But they push through that. That doesn't mean they push through when they're in real pain. They've torn a muscle or turned an ankle or something like that. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm saying is that you use some positive self-talk or something like that and just talk yourself through and say, come on, let's run to the next marker, the next white post on the road or that big tree up there or something before we give up. And if when we get there you want to give up or want to stop for a while, then we'll have earned it. And stopping for a while will be fine. So you just talk yourself through it and you determine for yourself that you're going to just run a little bit more, like I said, to the next marker or the big tree or whatever it is. And then you'll say, well, I said I'd get to there and I got there and I'm still feeling all right now. I'll keep going a bit further. And that brings me on to the second part of this talk, and that is to talk about things that may or may not make you a better runner. And if you think about before I sort of go into these things deeply, think about this concept. There are people or companies or organisations that make stuff. G'day, how are you? Pardon? You just go through the little gate there and then go around in front of the grandstand. And they make stuff, a lot of which we don't need. We want it, but we don't need it. And their job is to sell you that stuff. And if they can tell you that it will make you perform better, make you smarter, make you more attractive, make you appear wealthier or something, they will. And what we have to do as potential consumers is sort the truth from the advertising spin. And as runners, I think there are lots of things that are offered to us or suggested to us, sometimes good intentions. There might be somebody else who says, well, you know, I do this and has improved my times by X. And so you think, oh, I'll get some of that, so I'll do that. But we need to look at some of those things and see, is there any science behind it? There's a thing I'm sure a lot of people are aware of called the placebo effect. What that refers to is you go to a doctor and the doctor says to you, you're sick and here's a prescription, go to the chemist, get this filled, take these tablets or whatever they are, you know, once a day, twice a day, whatever it is, and take all the tablets. And if you haven't gotten better by the time you've taken all the tablets, which might be a month's supply or something, come back and see me. You go to the chemist tells you, you take your tablets, don't drink alcohol, or you know, take them with food or something like that. And you do that, and you get better. And you got better for one of two reasons. Either there was a medication that actually cured whatever was wrong with you, or the placebo effect, which is that the doctor told you there was something wrong with you, gave you what you thought was medication that had no medical qualities at all, had no capacity to hear what was wrong with you, but you thought it would, so you got better. And so there's a similar thing, I think, in running, that people say, well, I do this thing and my times have been getting better, so it must be this thing. Now, what are some of those things? Well, the one I've talked about a lot are the magic shoes. Carbon plated, carbon fibre, carbon rod, whatever you want to call them, the shoes. There is some evidence to suggest that if you are an elite runner, like Kipchoge, or people in that class, the magic shoes might make a small difference to your performance. A matter of 1%, I believe it, one study showed. But for the rest of us, they make no difference. They just empty the wallet. But if you think they make you perform better, then by all means. There are all sorts of recommendations for diet, supplements, and so forth. In the last year, just 12 months or so, I've had a couple of medical situations where I've required to have a whole series of blood tests. And one of the series of blood tests showed that it was low in magnesium. So I'll go and get some magnesium tablets, take those and you'll be fine. And so I said to the bloke, the doctor at the time, do I need to start taking a supplement? Get some, something like that. No, he said. So what do I do to maintain my magnesium levels after I finish these tablets then? If that's an important thing. And apparently it's because lack of magnesium leads to cramps, apparently. Leg cramps, at least. So his answer was, eat food that's grown in the soil. I looked at him, he said, no, and he's trying to work out what he meant. He explained things like carrots, potatoes, and I'm not giving you dietary information because, like I said, I told you all the 4 things I'm not, and I told you what I am, and I'm not a nutritionist or dietitian or anything like that. But good morning. Magnesium's in the soil. So plants that grow directly in the soil absorb magnesium. Other things like fruit that grows on trees, less magnesium because magnesium's absorbed by the roots of the tree and obviously filtered out. So that very little of it gets up to the pear or the apple or whatever. So he basically said, if you eat a balanced diet, fruit, vegetables, meat, limited amounts of red meat, then you don't need a vitamin supplement or anything like that. And he went as far as to say you'll have expensive urine because most of it will just be filtered out through your kidneys, end up in the toilet. There is a maximum, or a minimum, sorry. There is a recommended daily intake of vitamins and minerals and so on. And there's a recommended amount your body can absorb each day. And if you take more than that, your body doesn't need it, so it throws it away, is how I understand it. There are things like, some people swear by ice baths. Now, I've never taken an ice bath. I can tell you, pretty cold here today, and I'm only going to get colder because we're coming into winter. And the last thing I want to do when I get back from a run is jump into a bath of ice. I want to get in a warm shower, rub all the sweat off, feel clean. There's some suggestion that the idea of ice baths is that it reduces inflammation. The other studies say that the body needs that inflammation of the muscles to help rebuild and restore them after you've run. So the science is at best unclear, and the worst suggesting you're probably spending a lot of money on ice that you don't need. Then there's all the technology, magic rings, smartwatches, so on. I have a smartwatch. I admit to using it when I run. It maps my course. It tells me heart rate, cadence, all that sort of stuff. I look at it at the end of the run and go, and then I open it up on my phone and look at all the stuff again and see the lap times and think, oh, I thought I was doing better than that then, whatever. Then I forget about it. Because, yes, you can have all the data. And if you've got an external coach, someone who's not yourself, they can examine that data and tell you all sorts of things to do with it. And they can design programs for you that will or might improve your performance, might. But in the end, the thing that makes a difference to your performance is you. The physical package you've been given and the mental package that you have and that you use to keep you going when things get difficult or whatever. Now, having said all that, if you have one of these magic watches or magic rings or whatever, and they give you all this data and you analyse it every day, the next day you go and run and you run better, then keep doing it, because it may be that your analysis is helping you to be a better runner, or it may be the placebo effect. Whichever one it is, if it's giving you the desired outcome, it probably doesn't matter which one it is. But, this is the big but with all of it, be careful, because it's easy to end up spending hundreds of dollars on watches, shoes, and somebody says, oh, you know, I wear this top and it's great because it does whatever, or these shorts, or and then I take this drink and you end up spending all this money, and in actual fact most of it probably made no difference to you. Excuse me. One thing I would say is, if you live in a place like Launceston or Goulburn, and I live in New South Wales, it's cold in winter. If you want to invest in a piece of clothing, a very light jacket or something, that will get you warm at the first kilometre or so of running, but then not be so not be such that it causes you to feel overheated. You need to be able to either get it off or unzip it, or hope that it allows some air to pass through, so you do get a cooling effect. Because even on cold days like today, you can overheat, and that of course isn't good. And the other thing you might need to invest in is what you see, these black things on their gloves, because as I said, it's cold for one thing, but the body does everything it can to protect the core, where the vital organs are: heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, all that stuff that you need to be alive. Your feet are protected because they're in shoes and socks, so they're warm, and they're warm because they're doing most of the work. Your fingers are going to be cold because they're exposed to the air for a start, it's cold, but also because your body's trying to do as much to protect the vital organs as it can. So it supplies that part of your body with more blood than the extremities. But get yourself some gloves, and you might be at a time in your run, and I'm coming up to that on this run now, where I need to get them off, because these ones are not breathable. They don't breathe, and my hands are getting to the point where they're feeling a bit too hot. You can try just closing your hands and making them into fists, but you have to be careful that you don't end up with really tight fists, because that causes tension in the rest of your arm and your shoulders and everything else. All right, well, so I've given you what I hope is some useful information about successful running. If it's useful, feel free to make whatever use you want of it. Share it, comment, you wish, and so forth. When I become aware of your comments, I will respond. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing today, and I'll talk to you when I'm doing my next running video. I've still got about, for reference, about 3K to go till I get back to where I left my car. Stop recording. Recording.